Hello friends. I can see 80% of my viewers don't subscribe while watching videos. Please hit the subscribe button and like this video. Press that bell icon for notifications. And tell me in the comments from which state you are watching this video. My name is Harper, and this is the story of how one cruel comment about my living situation led to the most satisfying revenge I have ever experienced in my entire life. Picture this. You are 25 years old, living in a cramped one-bedroom apartment that barely fits a bed and a desk. The walls are paper thin. The heating barely works in winter. The kitchen is so small you cannot even open the refrigerator door all the way without hitting the counter. But this tiny space, this was my sanctuary, my headquarters, my launching pad to something extraordinary. Every single night, I would sit at my makeshift desk, coding until my eyes burned and my fingers ached. The blue light from my laptop screen was my only companion as the city slept around me. Cold instant noodles became my staple diet because I could not afford anything else, and honestly, I did not have time for anything else. I was building something revolutionary, something that would change everything. But nobody believed in me. Nobody except myself. Then one day, everything changed in the worst possible way. I had just finished a grueling 16-hour coding session when my doorbell rang. Standing outside was Vanessa Hart, my old college classmate. We had not spoken in months, and frankly, I was surprised she even remembered where I lived. Vanessa had always been the golden child. Perfect grades, perfect internships, perfect job at a prestigious marketing firm right after graduation. While I was taking risks and chasing dreams, she had taken the safe route, the conventional path that everyone expected us to follow. She swept into my apartment like a hurricane of judgment and superiority. I watched as her perfectly manicured eyes scanned every inch of my humble living space. The second-hand furniture I had bought from thrift stores. The stack of programming books that served as my coffee table. The blanket hanging over my window because I could not afford proper curtains. Her nose wrinkled in disgust. "Wow, Harper," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "I thought you would be further along by now. This place is cute. Like a college dorm room." Those words hit me like a physical blow. But she was not finished destroying my confidence. "I mean, do you not think it is time to grow up? Get a real job? Stop playing around with these silly computer projects." She gestured dismissively at my laptop, my lifeline, my entire future sitting on that tiny desk. "Most of our classmates are already climbing corporate ladders, buying real apartments, making actual money. And you are still here." She looked around again, making sure I felt every ounce of her disapproval. I felt my face burning with shame and anger. "What I am doing is important," I managed to say, my voice barely above a whisper. "This startup could change everything. I am working on something that could revolutionize how people—" "Startups," she laughed. Actually laughed. "Harper, 90% of startups fail within the first 2 years. You are living in a fantasy. This apartment, this lifestyle. It is not sustainable. It is embarrassing." She pulled out her phone and showed me pictures of her new apartment. A gleaming high-rise downtown with floor-to-ceiling windows, marble countertops, and a view that overlooked the entire city. "This is what success looks like," she said proudly. "I just signed a lease in the Meridian Tower. 23rd floor. The rent alone is probably more than you make in 3 months. But that is what happens when you make smart career choices." Every word felt like a dagger to my heart. "Maybe you should consider getting a normal job before you end up homeless," she continued, completely oblivious to the devastation she was causing. "I could put in a good word for you at my company. They always need assistants." Assistants? After everything I had worked for, everything I had sacrificed, she saw me as assistant material. "I should go," she said, checking her expensive watch. "I have dinner reservations at that new rooftop restaurant. You probably have not heard of it. It is pretty exclusive." And just like that, she was gone, leaving me alone in my tiny apartment, surrounded by the remnants of my shattered confidence. I sat on my bed and cried. I cried for the dreams she had just trampled on. I cried for the years of struggle that seemed meaningless in her eyes. I cried because part of me wondered if she was right. But then something inside me ignited. A fire that burned brighter than any doubt or fear. I looked around my small apartment, at my laptop still glowing with lines of code that could change the world. And I made a promise to myself. I would prove her wrong. Not just wrong, but spectacularly, undeniably, magnificently wrong. That night, I did not sleep. I coded with a fury and determination I had never felt before. Every line of code was fueled by her cruel words. Every feature I built was a middle finger to her narrow-minded view of success. Months turned into years. While Vanessa was climbing her corporate ladder, I was building something extraordinary. My startup was not just surviving, it was thriving. The breakthrough came on a Tuesday morning in March. I had been working on an artificial intelligence platform that could predict consumer behavior with unprecedented accuracy. What started as a simple algorithm in my tiny apartment had evolved into something that major corporations desperately wanted. The phone call that changed my life came at 6 in the morning. "Harper, this is Marcus Chun from Technovision Industries. We need to talk." Technovision was one of the biggest tech giants in the world. The kind of company that acquired startups for billions of dollars and turned their founders into legends overnight. "We have been watching your company for months," Marcus continued. "What you have built is revolutionary. We want to acquire your startup." My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might explode. "What kind of offer are we talking about?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. $50 million. I nearly dropped the phone. $50 million. For the company I had built in the apartment Vanessa had mocked and dismissed. But that was just the opening offer. Over the next 6 weeks, the bidding war between tech giants became legendary in Silicon Valley circles. Google wanted my AI platform. Microsoft was throwing around astronomical numbers. Facebook was promising to make me a VP if I sold to them. The final offer came from Technovision. $125 million. $125 million. I accepted. On the day I signed the papers, sitting in a conference room that overlooked the city from the 40th floor of a downtown skyscraper, I thought about Vanessa. I thought about her cruel words, her dismissive laughter, her certainty that I was destined for failure. I had just become one of the youngest self-made multimillionaires in the city, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my newfound wealth. I hired the best private investigator money could buy. Within a week, I knew everything about Vanessa's current situation. She was still working at the same marketing firm, still living in the same apartment in the Meridian Tower, still completely oblivious to what I had accomplished. But here is the thing about the Meridian Tower. It was for sale. The building had been struggling financially. High maintenance costs, declining occupancy rates, and some poor management decisions had put the owners in a difficult position. They were looking for a buyer who could inject capital and turn things around. I made them an offer they could not refuse. $22 million for the entire building. All 45 floors. All 230 units. Including Unit 2304, where Vanessa Hart lived. The closing took place on a Friday afternoon. I remember sitting in the lawyer's office, signing document after document, officially becoming the owner of a 45-story high-rise in downtown. I was now Vanessa's landlord. But I was not ready to reveal myself just yet. I wanted to savor this moment, to plan the perfect reveal that would make this revenge as sweet as possible. I spent the weekend learning everything about the building. The tenant records, the maintenance issues, the financial statements. I discovered that Vanessa was actually behind on her rent by 2 months. Apparently, her successful marketing career was not as lucrative as she had pretended. Monday morning, I decided it was time. I dressed in my finest suit, the kind of outfit that screamed success and power. I walked into the lobby of MY Building and instructed the doorman to announce me to Unit 2304. Tell Ms. Hart that the new building owner would like to meet with her personally. I waited in the lobby, my heart racing with anticipation. When the elevator doors opened, there she was. Vanessa Hart, carrying grocery bags, looking exactly the same as she had 3 years ago when she destroyed my confidence in my tiny apartment. Same perfectly styled hair, same condescending expression, same aura of superiority. But something was different in her eyes. There was a stress there, a worry that had not existed before. She walked toward me, clearly confused about why the new building owner wanted to meet with her personally. And then she saw my face. The recognition hit her like a freight train. Her mouth fell open. The grocery bags slipped from her hands, and I heard something break inside one of them. Her face went through a spectacular range of emotions. Confusion, shock, disbelief, and then pure unadulterated horror. "Harper," she whispered, as if saying my name might make this nightmare disappear. "Hello, Vanessa," I said with the biggest smile I had ever worn. Surprise. The doorman, who had been watching this exchange with great interest, stepped forward. "Ms. Hart, I would like you to meet Harper, the new owner of Meridian Tower." I watched as the blood drained from her face. "Owner," she stammered. You own this building?" "I do indeed," I said, pulling out a leather folder containing official documents. "Bought it last Friday. $22 million cash offer. I am now your landlord." She looked like she might faint. "But how? I mean, you were living in that tiny apartment. You had nothing." "I had a dream," I said calmly. "The same dream you mocked 3 years ago when you visited my college dorm room. Remember that day, Vanessa? You told me I needed to grow up, get a real job, stop playing around with silly computer projects." Her face was getting redder by the second. "Well, those silly computer projects just sold for $125 million. I let that number hang in the air between us. $125 million, Vanessa. For the company I built in that tiny apartment you found so embarrassing." She was shaking now. I reached into my briefcase and pulled out a thick manila envelope. "Now, as your new landlord, I have some business to discuss with you. It seems you are 2 months behind on your rent. That is $4,800 in overdue payments, plus late fees." I can explain." She started, but I held up my hand. "No need to explain. I understand that sometimes people fall behind on their obligations. However, as the new owner, I will be implementing some changes to ensure this building operates more efficiently." I handed her the envelope. "This is your new lease agreement. You will notice that the rent has been adjusted to reflect current market rates. Your new monthly payment will be $6,800, effective immediately." Her hands were trembling as she opened the envelope. $6,800? But I am already paying $4,200. I cannot afford an increase like that. "I understand your concern," I said with mock sympathy. "Perhaps you should consider getting a better job, making smarter career choices. After all, as you told me 3 years ago, this is what success looks like." I gestured around the beautiful lobby of the building I now owned. "Speaking of smart career choices, how is that assistant position working out for you? Oh wait, you are still at the same marketing firm you were at 3 years ago, aren't you? Still in the same position? Still making the same salary?" Each question was a surgical strike designed to humiliate her the way she had humiliated me. "Harper, please," she begged. I said some things back then that I should not have said. I was wrong. I was stupid. I am sorry. "Oh, you are sorry?" I laughed. "You are sorry for telling me my dreams were fantasies? Sorry for laughing at my startup? Sorry for suggesting I become an assistant?" Tears were starting to form in her eyes. "You know what the funny thing is, Vanessa? While you were living here, comfortable and secure, mocking my tiny apartment and my big dreams, I was building something extraordinary. Every insult you threw at me became fuel for my success." I leaned in closer. "Do you want to know what I did the night after you left my apartment? I worked for 18 straight hours. I refined my algorithm. I pitched 3 new investors. I turned your cruelty into the motivation that ultimately made me rich beyond my wildest dreams." She was crying now. "Please, Harper. I will pay the back rent. I will find the money somehow. Just please do not kick me out. This is my home." "Home." I repeated the word slowly. Funny how something becomes important to you when you are about to lose it, is not it? I looked around the lobby, enjoying every second of her desperation. "Tell you what, Vanessa. I am feeling generous today. I will give you 2 options." She looked up at me with desperate hope. "Option 1. You can sign this new lease agreement, find a way to pay the increased rent, and continue living here under my ownership. Every month when you write that rent check, You will remember this conversation. You will remember that the person you mocked and dismissed is now your landlord. What is option 2? She whispered. Option 2. You can move out by the end of the month. I will waive the back rent you owe, and you can find somewhere else to live. Somewhere more suited to your actual income level. The cruelty in my voice surprised even me. She stood there for several long minutes, weighing her impossible options. I will take option 1, she finally said. I will sign the lease. Excellent choice, I said, pulling out an expensive pen from my jacket. Sign right here. As she signed the document with shaking hands, I pulled out my phone and took a picture. Just for my records, I explained. I like to document important moments. But really, I wanted to capture this moment forever. The moment when the woman who had crushed my dreams was forced to humble herself before me. There is one more thing, I said as she finished signing. What? She asked weakly. I reached into my briefcase and pulled out a small gift bag. I brought you a housewarming gift. She looked confused as she opened the bag. Inside was a picture frame containing a photograph of my old apartment. The tiny one-bedroom space she had mocked so mercilessly. I want you to display this somewhere prominent in your apartment, I said, as a reminder that success comes in many forms, and sometimes the people you underestimate end up owning the very roof over your head. She stared at the photograph, tears streaming down her face. Harper, I am truly sorry for what I said back then. I was jealous and insecure and I took it out on you. What you have accomplished is incredible. You are right, it is incredible, I agreed. But your apology comes a little too late, do you not think? 3 years too late, to be exact. I straightened my tie and prepared to leave. Oh, one last thing, I said, turning back to her. I will be renovating several units in this building over the next few months. There might be some noise, some inconvenience. I hope that will not be a problem for you. She shook her head frantically. No problem at all. Good. Because I would hate for you to be uncomfortable in your own home. As I walked toward the exit, I called back over my shoulder. Rent is due on the 1st of every month, Vanessa. Do not be late. I left her standing in the lobby, surrounded by her spilled groceries, holding the photograph of the apartment she had once mocked. The apartment where I had built an empire. 3 months later, I received a text message from Vanessa. Harper, I know you probably do not want to hear from me, but I wanted you to know that I have been thinking about what happened 3 years ago every single day since our conversation in the lobby. You were right to be angry with me. What I said was cruel and wrong, and I have regretted it every day since. I hope someday you can forgive me, but I understand if you cannot. Also, I wanted to let you know that your success story has inspired me to take some risks of my own. I am starting my own consulting business. Thank you for showing me what is possible when you believe in yourself. I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to let her suffer in the consequences of her cruelty forever. But another part of me, the part that remembered what it felt like to be dismissed and underestimated, felt something I had not expected. Compassion. I walked through my penthouse apartment, looking out at the city skyline from my floor-to-ceiling windows. I had everything I had ever dreamed of and more. Success beyond my wildest imagination. Wealth that would last several lifetimes. Recognition from the tech industry as one of the most innovative entrepreneurs of my generation. But the sweetest victory of all was not the money or the accolades. It was proving to myself that the girl who had been mocked in that tiny apartment had the strength to build something extraordinary. I picked up my phone and typed back. Vanessa, I appreciate your message and your apology. What you said 3 years ago was hurtful, but it also became the fuel that drove me to succeed beyond my wildest dreams. In a strange way, I should thank you. Your cruelty became my motivation. I hope your consulting business succeeds. Everyone deserves a chance to chase their dreams, even the people who once mocked mine. The rent increase will remain in effect, but I wish you well in your new venture. I sent the message and smiled. Because sometimes the greatest revenge is not just proving your doubters wrong. It is succeeding so completely that you can afford to be gracious to those who tried to tear you down. Today, I own 17 buildings across the city. My investment portfolio is worth over $300 million. I have been featured on the covers of Forbes and Entrepreneur magazine. I speak at conferences around the world about innovation and perseverance. And every morning when I wake up in my penthouse, I remember that tiny one-bedroom apartment where it all began. The apartment where a cruel comment from an old classmate lit a fire that would burn bright enough to illuminate my path to extraordinary success. Vanessa still lives in Unit 2304 of Meridian Tower. She pays her rent on time every month now. Her consulting business is actually doing quite well, and I have even referred a few clients to her. Because that is what success looks like. Having the power to destroy someone who hurt you, and choosing mercy instead. If this story of ultimate revenge and redemption inspired you, if it reminded you that every cruel comment and every doubt can become fuel for your own extraordinary success, then please subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss stories of triumph over adversity, of dreams becoming reality against all odds. Your support means everything to us, and we have so many more incredible stories to share with you. Until next time, remember, the people who mock your dreams today might just become your tenants tomorrow.